Hello. Good morning to everyone. Buenos dias para todos. I hope that you have been enjoying the italki live streams so far in the comfort of your home, where you are safe at home. My name is Adriel, and today I'm going to continue talking more about communication in English for business, but also for what I think is my favorite thing to teach, and I think it's a topic subject many people really love called the subject of travel. So today we're going to talk about travel and business communication and ways that you can improve your communication, but also ways that you can increase your vocabulary and also make your travel experiences, whether for pleasure or for work, more productive and more pleasant. So this is something that's very important. So for those of you that are tuning in right now, again, welcome. For those who are not here yet, good morning, buenos dias. And let's start here in the beginning. So the first thing we have to talk about is the word traveling abroad. Traveling abroad. Abroad is a word that I teach many people all the time. It's a word that I don't think there's really much of an equivalent in any language I have learned or taught. You can correct me in the comments, of course, if you know something that's similar to abroad. What is abroad? What does it mean to travel or to work abroad? Good morning, Pablo and Oscar. Good to see you both again. Yes. So, how is your morning going? Everything going okay? Are you planning for your next big trip when the crisis is over? Yeah, overseas. Good. That's the best translation for abroad. I really love it when you can give good definitions for this word because it does confuse a lot of people. A lot of people will just say, "Good morning, Matt. Good morning." And a lot of people will just say out of the country or out of my home. So it's a little bit more complex. This is where you go somewhere that's totally different. Yeah, yeah, yeah. In French, we have a word called dépaysement. It's a beautiful word. It means to be outside of your current situation. I learned this word living in France. I would say that traveling abroad is a very similar kind of idea. You go somewhere that, of course, is new and different. Before the COVID-19 crisis, travel frequency had been, again, past perfect, right? Because this is before the crisis. So this is the past of the past, had been breaking records worldwide every year. Breaking records, right? Breaking records. It means setting new limits, new possibilities. And since the early 1990s, this is according to DK Travel, which was a big travel guidebook back in the day, there has been a 300% increase in overseas trips alone. So it's enormous. Does anyone know how many people total traveled in 2018? This is from a study that was done in The Guardian last year. Anyone know how many people total traveled by plane in 2018? This means the number of passengers. It doesn't necessarily mean every one person on Earth. It means people that did more than one trip. Does anyone know what the total of plane travel passengers was in 2018? What was the number? Was it in the millions, the tens of millions, hundreds of millions, over a billion? What's the number? Anyone tell me? Wait for the I'll wait for your answers just to see if you got it right. But yeah, the number is quite big. It's 1.4 billion travelers by plane in 2018. 1.4 billion. Now, keep in mind, this isn't 1.4 billion of everyone on Earth. These are people that have traveled more than one time. So that's still a lot of people traveling by plane. So what are some other big changes to travel? What are other things that have changed since the early 1990s? I mean, again, this is a big change. Do you know anything else that has changed with travel? What are some other things? Not just the amount of trips, but what are some other things that have changed? Can anyone tell me here on the live chat? Okay, low cost traveling, good. We're going to talk about that. Yeah. The security, a lot of online services. Yeah, online services. Sure, that can be things that are a little bit different about traveling. Yeah. Um, let's see, anything else? Well, those are some good ones. So we'll continue to talk about that as we continue the presentation. But again, traveling and working abroad is a big part of our life now. So I'm going to ask you a few questions here just to start our lesson today. How often do you travel or work abroad? What places do you like to travel to, either for work or for pleasure? Give me a few examples of places you like to go to, travel to, if you travel for work. If you don't travel for work, where do you travel for pleasure? Okay, so Matt says he does 2 to 3 trips a year. Okay, that's good. That's really good. Um, and again, I might be talking about other kinds of trips, maybe not just plane travel, but also other kinds of travel. So you can tell me if you travel or if you have to travel for work, or if you like to travel for pleasure. So you can give me your answers here. Okay. All right. So Pablo says he used to go to Houston for work. Nice. I really want to go there. I heard there's really good food in Houston. All right. So that's a long trip. And Matt's saying for holiday. All right. Low cost, uh, excellent communications in terms of, well, that's the answer from the first question. But yeah, yeah. Usually, I would say most people watching probably travel for pleasure, right? For holiday. I don't know how many of you travel for work, um, but again, yeah, Christmas, summer, Easter period, abroad once a year. Like to do more. Yeah, good. I think most people travel for pleasure. So the good news is if you travel for pleasure or if you travel for work, you still have to use very similar, we have to use the same vocabulary, the same questions, the same conversation. There's no difference. But the idea is to really think about it as if you were showing respect to another person in another culture. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. So, which form of transport do you prefer? Um, what are the pros and cons of traveling by plane, by boat, by train or bus, car? There's many ways we can travel. I mean, when we say we go abroad, we could take a train, right? Um, And when we say pros and cons, what are pros and cons of traveling? What is a pro? What is a con? Anyone know what it is, pro or a con? Waiting for the comments to come in. So still waiting for that. Well, I'll wait for your comments. I'm sure someone answered, but pro is, of course, something that is, we would say, something that's beneficial, something that is good, something that's positive. Con is something that is negative, maybe to the point where you don't travel by plane because you have your reason. Maybe you don't like, well, turbulence. Maybe you don't like checking in, or you don't like the price. There's many things, right? So I have a comment here from Pablo that by plane, the pros are fast, safe, and cheap. Cons are a lot of time. I think it means you have to plan a lot of time. You have to pay for a ticket a lot of time in advance. Security delays, yes. And I have a comment here from Pilar that the environment is I would say maybe something to think about. There is now a term in the Swedish language. I can't speak Swedish, but I'll say what it is in English, which is flight shame. Flight shame. Shame means when you feel bad about doing something. So if you fly, you feel bad about maybe the environmental consequence, because it's true. It's something that's a big problem now. We all want to travel. It's cheaper, it's easier, it's faster, but there is also an environmental consequence. So Matt's saying under 600 kilometers, he does car or train. That's pretty good. I would say that's a good way to be more sustainable, to have a good, we call in English, a carbon footprint. Carbon footprint, if you look in it's when you reduce how much you use in carbon emissions. You reduce your carbon emissions, so you make it a little bit more. You make it a little bit better for the world to travel, a little bit better for everybody. See, I have another comment from Pablo that another con of planes is the size of the seat, especially for long trips, unless you have enough money to pay for business class. Yeah, so that's something we are going to talk about. So just continuing here, traveling by plane. So again, not surprisingly, plane travel is the fastest growing form of travel today. So there are more people now traveling by plane than ever before. This is because of changes in ticket prices, low-cost airline trips, weekend getaway packages. So just a vocabulary check. What is an example of a low-cost airline trip? What have you ever taken a low-cost airline trip before? Do you often travel low cost? Yes, okay. So, all right. So I do too. I think everybody, Vueling is a great for low cost. There's also other ones, right, such as EasyJet and Ryanair. And low cost is one of the main reasons, if not the main reason, that we're traveling more by plane. So again, this is something that is normal. Why do we like low cost? I mean, of course, it's the price. But what about a weekend getaway package? What is a weekend getaway package? You give me an example of what a weekend getaway package is. What's an example of? Have you ever bought a weekend getaway package? Yeah, going to another place for the weekend from Pablo and from Pilar. I have he says usually including, uh, Pilar saying usually includes the trip, the hotel, and some activities or food. Okay, yeah, so exactly. So this is a big reason that travel has increased because, yeah, exactly. Plane, hotel, car, transport to airport, hotel to go back. This is how I would say, I don't know if most people travel like this, but I would say that a reason because of low cost getaway packages. It's a big, it's something that well, I guess the big question is, why do we, why do we like getaway packages? Do you buy getaway packages? Do you like them? I don't usually buy a getaway package, but maybe you can tell me why you like it. Why do you prefer a getaway package? Does anyone want to express their opinion? Good, thanks, Pilar, because it makes the trip more easy. Now, remember, when we will talk about this in the class. Okay, good. Yeah, I don't either, but Pilar is right. It makes the trip easier. Remember, we say easier because remember when we talk about something called superlatives and comparatives, right? Easier is when we put more and easy together to make a new word, a comparative, easier. So yeah, it makes the trip easier. You can get good last minute bargains. Yeah, that's good. There are many reasons to to buy a getaway package. I mean, it's it's a temptation, a temptation, tentación, right? So um, so again, yes, these are good things, but plane travel is convenient for many reasons, these reasons, but it can be stressful. Why is plane travel very stressful? I would say that I used to travel a lot by plane, but it's very stressful. So why is it very stressful? Why does it give you stress? Do you get stressed when you fly on a plane? You can speak your mind. Today we can complain about plane travel if you want to. Yeah, okay, good. So Pablo has something that stresses me out the most, I think, about. I mean, some people get stressed out about maybe security, but making connections with little time. Yeah, that's a good use of the verb to make, right? Yeah, when something will go wrong, waste money or time. Yeah, that's that's the thing, right? We don't know, right? We anticipate something negative. We anticipate a problem, so we need to sort of yeah, overbooking. Yeah, yeah, Pablo. this has happened to me before. I did not check in, and then I go in the day the flight leaves, and they tell me, oh, the flight is overbooked. So we have to see if someone doesn't appear for the flight, and if they don't, then you can board the plane. If they do, we will find a solution. I had to go back to work the next day. So what solution? I don't know. But if you see here, exactly. Matt's saying my wife doesn't like using this plane for the reason: security, parking, tickets, idioms. Yeah, it's really. I would say even another word is just protocol. Protocol is a word to use that. It's it really you really do have to go out of your comfort zone. That's a really good idiom. That's an example of an idiom. It can be a terrible experience. So let's talk about the main problems of flying in a plane, the plane problem. So the first thing here is seating. This is one of the big problems, right? So more than half of passengers prefer an aisle seat instead of paying for a seat upgrade. So what is an aisle seat? Can we go over this? What is a seat upgrade? Why do we upgrade a seat when we travel by plane? Do we? I don't. But do you? Do you upgrade your seat? Do you prefer an aisle seat? So I'm waiting for your comments to come in. Just wondering what your opinion about seating is. Maybe there's another problem you want to complain about. Maybe you want to call an airliner, complain to them. Just waiting. All right. Yeah, that's good. So Pablo's saying companies usually try to make extra money by offering these services, or in offering. And yeah, the seat upgrade is preferred by Pilar. So yeah, it depends. If you can pay for it and you want to, then I think it's a good idea. But it's also too bad, right, that we have to pay for better things, a better seat. Yeah. So Matt says, I prefer an aisle seat instead of a window seat, but not a seat upgrade. However, I can't pay an upgrade seat for everyone of my family. Yeah, yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, yeah, it's a big problem. It's something that I think we have to think about. What are we comfortable with flying? I mean, comfort is really important. So seating is part of comfort. There's also another thing that has to do with pricing, right? So passengers really despise meaning they really hate airline charges, baggage allowances, weight restrictions, etc. Um, so what are these here? Again, they're similar to seats, but we talk about baggage, right? Baggage is sort of in the United States, we sometimes say bags, your bag, our bags. But what is the difference really? We have baggage allowances, weight restrictions, charges. What are these things? What are they? Yeah. Low cost companies have really strict policies about luggage. That's true, Pablo, and that's part of the reason I think that their prices are low cost. but but maybe not. I mean, I feel that maybe there's a way we can improve baggage allowances, weight restrictions. So when you travel, do you travel light or do you travel with a lot of baggage. How do you travel? Yeah. So Matt's saying, pay attention to all of these charges. You have to when you're sort of doing the checkout, you have to revise. Yeah, cancellation policy too. Yeah, these are a few things too, and they're never very clear. I had a lot of trouble with cancellation recently. Um, I thought I would get most of the money back, but I didn't get hardly any money back. so it's very dangerous. Um, and here it says, I prefer to be minimalist from Pilar. Yeah, I would say that's me more. I usually go with a bag or a backpack, and if it's just for pleasure. If I'm going for business, I go with a little bag, more professional. Um, Depends on the season. Yeah, and the days you're going to we'd say spend in your destination. Spend. Yeah. Um, yeah, and right now it's true what Matt's saying. There's a lot of cancellations. People are losing. You can say a lot of money. Yeah, a lot of money. Yeah, that's what we say. Yeah, it's usually the way we use that to describe the quantity. A lot of money. and uh, and it's a big problem. So to continue this, there is one more thing, of course, we don't like about traveling by plane, and that's protocol. So passengers dread security scans, delayed flights, and missed connections. What does it mean to dread something? What is the verb to dread something? What does it mean when I dread security scans? Check in. Yeah, to be afraid of. Good. Thanks. Yeah, it's a little bit of a problem, right? I mean, we dread a lot of things about it. We're afraid of these things, and you could avoid traveling by plane because of these problems. So again, we know what this is, right? Security scans, delayed flights, missed connections. No need to revise vocabulary today. But what about other problems? There is one more problem, one more problem that we did not talk about. What's another big problem? This is a big thing people complain about when they fly. Again, seating, pricing, protocol, and something else. Something else. Food. The food is terrible. Yeah. Um, yeah, food could be part of the charges, maybe to get better food. Delays are part of protocol. It's something more logical. There's something else that can make our trip very complicated. Okay, yeah, fear of dying in an accident, sure, that could be something that maybe you're scared of. But remember, plane travel is still the safest form of travel in the world. When we get inside a car, people feel more safe in a car than they do in a plane, but there are more accidents, car accidents every year than there are plane accidents, right? Plane crashes. Um, Mislabeling your package or bags. Well, that can happen. Yeah, it's a very strange situation. Um, I learned that now with baggages, you can actually put a name like Darth Vader or Spider-Man, and they don't care because they have your ID on a barcode that they scan. So yeah, so Pablo said the right thing. Other passengers, yeah, is the next big thing that people dread about plane travel. Noise, babies, rude passengers, right? These are all big problems. so, thanks for pointing that out. That's probably the best. But yeah, misunderstanding a gate, flight number, that can be something too that's very problematic. Yeah. So, how was your trip? So, again, when we talk about our trips or our future trips, talking about our trips and future trips are a good way to practice English. Expressing your opinion is one good way. For example, you can say positive, I like, I look forward to, I enjoy, I love. Yeah. Now we know maybe I like, I enjoy, I love. What about I look forward to? What does that mean? I look forward to something. This is what we call a phrasal verb in English. Again, this isn't really a grammar class. It's a class that's just going to give you some ideas on how to improve your conversation. But phrasal verbs are a big way that we start to improve our conversation with others. It's very big in formal and even informal English. Yeah, I can't wait can be one way. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm excited, right? I'm excited to go to go to to go to Japan or something. Yeah. So negative, of course, in the opposite, we can say, right, I don't like, pretty simple. I can't stand. I dread, which we talked about, and I hate. So we know what I dread is. That's something we looked at. What does it mean? I can't stand. I can't stand. This is using a modal verb, the verb can, to talk about to express an opinion. What is I can't stand? Does that mean do not tolerate? Yeah, good. Yeah, good. Thank you, Pablo. Yeah, I do not tolerate. Yeah, again, it's a difference of dread is something that you anticipate, maybe something you're worried about. Stand is something that's actively happening to you. So now we need to create a little bit of phrases together. So we're going to work together in the chat, and I would love to hear your opinions about travel because travel stories are always really interesting. They can be really funny, terrible. Um, and when we describe our opinion, we can use ing forms of words or also the gerund when the verb becomes a noun. So this is very similar in Spanish. It's like when we say estoy andando, I am walking, but that's different, of course, because I am walking is the sort of the is sort of the way of saying just the continuous form of the verb to walk. I am walking right now. So when we use the gerund, we're really talking about turning something into an activity. So we would say, me gusta andar, right? I love walking, right? So it's a little bit different. It has a similarity in the gerund, but the difference is how we use it in English. There are ways we can use it similarly in Spanish and English. Of course, my Spanish is not very, very good. This is just what I know as a as a Portuguese speaker. I know there's some similarities, but but again, using the gerund is a way to express these ideas. So, for example, I enjoy traveling to other countries. I dread going through security checks. Let's practice with this here just for a minute because I want to see your sentences. Uh, Give me, using the gerund or the ing form of words, tell me something that you like, that you love about traveling. Tell me something that you don't like, that you hate about traveling. I want to see what your answers are using this grammar check. So feel free to share your story to me on the live chat. Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I look forward to going out again after the pandemic. Yeah, good. Good. That's a good use of the genre. Yeah, I look forward to traveling. Better to say during the summer, during or in the summer, in the summer. Yeah, we use in for like in the summertime, in the springtime. Yeah, but yeah, good. That's a good use of that. What about something negative? Can we get something negative here? Something that we about traveling in general. I don't like. Yeah, I look forward to traveling when the quarantine ends. Yeah, that's what we're all thinking the same thing. What's amazing about the quarantine is that even though we're all at home, I feel like we're all together. Finally, we all are together. Um, I can't stand people snoring on a plane. Yeah, or on the plane. On the plane, you can talk about just the plane as a place in general, as a specific. Sorry, a specific place. Yeah, good. Any other negative sentences you'd like to share about your trip? Things that you don't like or you dread. I would say dread is maybe my favorite because it's very well. It's a little pessimistic, but when we travel by plane, things happen. Um, any other negatives? Okay, from Pablo. Yeah, I dread turbulence during a flight. Yeah, okay, me too. Yeah, I hate turbulence. Yeah, I also hate turbulence. I'm not scared of turbulence. I just really hate it. um, okay, yeah, those are some good examples. I'm going to show one more way that we can talk about our general experiences of traveling. You can use superlatives and comparatives. So we talked about this a little bit earlier. Remember the answer, not saying more easy, but easier, right? Not more cheap, but cheaper, right? When we talk about the pricing of a plane ticket. What I like the most is eating the local food, for example, the most. We have to say what because we have to talk about a thing. So again, the subject is what. So then it's like when I ask you, what do you like the most about traveling, right? And you would say, oh, what I like the most. You use the same structure. And it's the same thing also with if we say the worst thing for me is flight cancellations. So again, this is saying the worst thing, the best thing. Thing is just another way of saying the subject or the action or just any information. So for example, using the superlatives and the comparatives. What's something we can use? What I like the most or what I enjoy the most? Tell me something that you like the most and you hate the most. The best thing and the worst thing. Yeah, good. So from Matt, I don't like waiting in the queues. You can also say in line or the travel queues. Yeah. And Pablo is saying the thing I dread the most is arriving late to the airport and Gerund losing my flight. Okay, again, it's the not so much that you say you lose it, but the action of losing your flight, right? Losing my flight. Yeah, I would say that's one of the things I dread the most. Yeah, that's good. It's a good use of the thing I dread the most, or what I dread the most. Um, who wants to give another example of a superlative and a comparative? Feel free to share your ideas. If you're just joining us today for the class, we're talking about traveling, something we wish we were doing right now instead of being at home. But it's important to be safe, of course. Yes, so what I enjoy the most is meeting new people. Really good use of the gerund, Pilar, and good use of the comparative, right? Or in this case, a superlative, the most. Yeah. So you can actually, so you don't have to say, you don't have to always make the comparative or superlative word. You can actually use the most, or the opposite would be the least, and the worst and the best. So this is vocabulary you can use. What I dread the most this is from Matt, what I dread the most is changing the departure time. But keep in mind when we say what I dread the most is the departure time changing, right? Because again, you didn't change it, right? It was changed for you. So again, it's sometimes using these gerunds can be a little bit complicated. We have to think a lot about who changed it, why it and what did you change it, or was it changed? Again, the passive voice by someone. So that's a way you can use it. So those are good examples. You can send more examples during the chat if you're just joining us, or if you are thinking still about your opinion. It's no problem. I have no problem during my classes with silence. Silence sometimes is very important to get our ideas in place. So again, grammar check-in. And again, there is another thing I want to talk about that is very important. One big mistake we hear while traveling are visitors forgetting the polite question forms. So again, let me show you an example of what are imperative or direct questions. Very similar to Spanish, for example, or other languages. There are direct questions. Where's the nearest bus stop? Again, an inquiry. It means that we're looking for information. We're asking for information. Inquiry. The next one, why is my flight canceled? Again, still asking for information. Again, it's not, you didn't cancel the flight. It's just something that happened to you. Can you change my seat? It's a request. Okay, a request. Another one, help me, I'm lost. It's not really, it doesn't look like a request, but when you say help me, it is a request. So again, these are direct ways of doing it, but they are not necessarily polite question forms. So we have to think how can we make these questions or these maybe these requests more polite? Yeah. What can we do with number one? Where's the nearest bus stop? How can we make that polite? What's a way that we can make this question more polite? Yeah, okay. So could you please tell me where the nearest bus stop, then you have to add at the end is. This is something that's important. Where is the nearest bus stop? Could you tell me where the nearest bus stop is? Unless you keep where's the nearest bus stop. It's fine, but it's not as grammatically correct, because when we answer the question, I would say then, the nearest bus stop is over there, right? In 2 minutes, right? Because I have to say where it is, right? Where the bus stop is. Again, this is why we ask the question, because the answer is going to have the same structure. So we have to maintain that structure. If someone answered it's, okay, it is, where's the nearest bus stop? And I answer in a direct way, oh, it's over there. That's okay. Again, it's the same structure. right? We're continuing the structure in the same way. So just to continue, what is another way we can make the next one, right? Why is my flight canceled? Good. Okay. So Matt already got the good answer, and Pablo did too for the second one. Would you mind telling me where, right, or why, right? So would you mind? There's another one you can say. Do you happen to know why the flight is canceled, right? Or why my flight is canceled? You can also say, that's a good one there that Pablo said, would you mind telling me? Would you mind telling me why the flight? These are great ways. These are two of the most polite ways. We're using the polite question forms. Again, would you mind? Do you happen to know? Yeah, it's something that makes it. If you watch my class on my lecture on phone and email protocol the other day, again, this is going back to the modal verbs. It's something that people forget a lot when they travel. I have seen native speakers, native English speakers, not use polite question forms when they travel. And I think the worst I ever saw, I've seen pretty bad in my life, but one I saw that was really bad was I saw a tourist, was an English tourist in English speaking. I don't know if they were from English speaking country, but they sounded like a native speaker. Maybe they weren't. I don't know. But we were at a cafe in Amsterdam, and I heard them say, "Do you have like a coffee you can get me?" And I thought, wow, that breaks every single rule of the polite question form. You think maybe they don't have coffee, then you think maybe they won't help you, and then you don't use any of the right ways to ask a request. I was amazed. I was honestly amazed. I had never seen anything like that. And of course I've seen worse, but that was the worst example I've ever seen of someone asking for something as simple as a coffee. So for the last ones, for can you change my seat and help me, I'm lost. What is a verb we can use to make the question more polite? What is it? I think we already answered it, but I just want to see your answer one more time before we continue. Can you tell me? For can you change my seat? Help me, I'm lost. What's a better polite question? Yeah, yeah, please could you change my seat? Even better to say, could you change my seat, please? Yeah. Another one that I really like is, would it be possible? Would it be possible? Yeah, but could, yeah, is it possible for you to change my seat? Yeah, yeah. But even better, just saying, would it be possible, right? Is it possible? Yeah. Would it be possible? Could for the request. So these are good. This is usually the best way to ask any request to anyone in travel related service. So hotels, planes, reservations. Honestly, just using this, it's like a magic phrase. It works everywhere. It makes everybody feel better, and they might even help you if you're. They might help you right away. If you call and you're very direct, they might not help you. So it's really important to make sure that you show that you're on their side, right? So, closing the doors, again, I'm sorry for my travel related jokes in the presentation today. They're not very funny, but the idea is to make this a very relaxing class for you. There's a few things that we can cover as final sort of note. And again, traveling will continue to be something very important as long as prices remain high, remain low, and demand stays high. Again, this is two uses of two verbs that are synonyms of each other: remain and stay. The prices remain high. They can also stay high. They can remain low. Demand stays high. There's a lot of demand right now. Not right now with the COVID-19 crisis, but the I would say that I don't know if the situation will change after the crisis. I think that we will see, but it's possible there will be even more demand. Um, this may change with the current crisis, again, like I said, but practicing good grammar and vocabulary for travel is still helpful for everyone learning English. So I'm going to ask you two questions today, sort of as a final sort of presentation. Well, I'm glad you guys think it's funny. I mean, I thought it was funny too, but again, I don't want to be that teacher that tells really bad jokes, because we've always had the teacher that tells bad jokes. But again, let's think about this first. After the crisis, do you think that plane travel, will be the same? Will travel change forever? Will planes become more expensive? What are some changes that you think will happen with travel? Big changes. Again, this is what I do at the end of my class. This is what's called a cooler. I'm sort of just having you be relaxed. We just spent 50 minutes looking at grammar and vocabulary, and now you can relax and just talk about some ideas. So, how will travel change with the crisis? After the crisis is over, will travel be different? Will it be the same? Is it still important to learn good grammar, good vocabulary for travel? What do you think? What is your opinion on these questions? All right, so I have one from Pilar. I think it will not be the same. Many people lost their jobs and will be afraid of traveling. Good use of gerund, due to the virus. Yes, that is true. I think so too. I do not know when it will be normal to travel again. Maybe I will be able to travel locally. I can drive, I can go to places with less people. Pablo says, though, people forget over time and things will get back to normal. Well, I mean, I hope people don't forget. I hope people remember, right? That would be good. But yes, things will get back to normal. But the question is always when, or the question really is normal, right? If it'll be a new normal, something else, right? Maybe the old way is over, it's finished. Now we have to have a new way of traveling. Yeah, but these are good questions. And I have another question just relating to grammar and vocabulary. I really think that learning travel vocabulary is one of the best ways to improve your English. Why is it the best way? Why is it the best way? I have one more answer for my last question from Matt. Honestly, I don't know, but probably it will change in terms of prices. I think the offer and demands, well, you can say, yeah, the demand will change during a period. Yeah, it's possible. We don't know. There's a lot of things we don't know. So, yeah, and one more comment from Pablo here. The crisis was a good example of how connected our world is right now. Yeah, the virus spread all over the world in no time. Oscar says, I think people will be more polite in general. Yeah, these are good answers. I think I talked about this in my previous classes, but the idea is, yes, we are a more connected world. So the real conclusion, of course, is that now practicing great communication with others builds greater understanding across all cultures. So whether we are seated here today and I am communicating to you at home, or whether you communicate with others in other countries. Could be maybe you have a language partner that you're learning English with in China, or you're learning maybe something like I don't know. You're learning maybe Russian with someone in Russia, and they're learning your language. They're learning Spanish. What's really important is that when we learn how to ask for things, we learn how to request things, right? We also learn how to communicate with others in a better way. And that means we learn how to be better connected with others. Again, English is amazing because I think one of the fellow italki teachers, I think it was Claire, she mentioned a statistic that almost I would say almost 100%. I mean, it was in 90, 93, 96% of people that speak English are not even people that are native speakers. It's actually people that learn it as a second language or a third language. So English has really become a language. I don't know. It's for better or for worse. It's just how it is. It became an international standard language. So when we learn vocabulary such as travel, or as I did in previous classes, small talk, phone calls, emails, these are things that are good for you, also good for your business. And it's something that we can remember when we're talking to someone. Remember these ideas, remember why you have to use these ideas. So again, I want to thank you all for for participating today in the online live stream I Stay at Home with italki. Italki.com is a wonderful website that has professional instructors such as myself, online tutors, language partners, and plenty of resources that will help you achieve your goals in your target language. I offer classes on italki. I'm available in April, and at the same time, no matter what, I just want you to remember that learning a language is a process. It's something that takes time. It's something that is it's for life. I live in France. I speak French, but I'm always learning something new every day. So it's the same thing with any language you learn, whether it's English or whether it's Chinese or whether it's Swahili. So again, thank you all for your participation. It was really loved your answers, loved your enthusiasm, and I want to wish you really good wishes, well wishes, good health during the COVID-19 crisis. Again, let's hope we get through this together. Let's hope it's over sooner or later. And don't forget to connect with others, even during the crisis. I think it's more important than ever before. Thank you very much and have a great day.